Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Vandalia By The Way. My name is Rich Hopkins. I'm the communications manager for the city. And on today's program, we're going to tell you about a great fall festival of fun headed to Vandalia later this month. We've also got the latest on economic development news, and we're going to answer that age-old question, where can I put my garage sale sign? But our first stop today is here on Buttercup Avenue, where crews are busy putting the final touches on a complete rebuild of this road that at one time was a pretty rocky road. At the beginning of the summer, a drive along Buttercup Avenue could be a bumpy affair, with cracks, potholes, and years of wear and tear on the street. But Public Works Manager Rob Cron says things are quite different now.
A couple month project, and we come through first and replace the water main out here, which we've had a lot of issues with over the years, water main breaks and stuff. So it's a whole new main with all new services to the houses. Then the contractor came through and replaced the old storm sewer in here, which was metal pipe that was all rusted out, deteriorated on the bottom. So it's all new plastic pipe now in the ground. So then we come through and fix the concrete out here that needed to be repaired.
A new base coat and fresh asphalt were the finishing touches. Cron says the new roadway should give residents years and years of smooth driving, and it was all done without any property owner assessments.
One nice thing about this project is we had saved our dollars over the years to put this budget together for this, and it will not cost the property owners on the street anything for any of the new improvements out here to the street.
Of course, Buttercup was not the only street in town getting attention, as Vandalia's street resurfacing project had crews deployed all over the city.
We were able to pave 19 streets this year, and we did a lot of concrete work. Included with the concrete work, we were able to install 47 handicap ramps at the corners, which we were lucky enough to receive some outside funding to help with those.
As we transition from summer to fall, crews in the Public Works Department will start focusing on another inevitability of the season: falling leaves.
Coming up here this month is going to be the leaf pickup around town. You can go to our website and you can get a map of what the zones are going to be and what days they're going to be on your street. There's also a list there, and we'll tell you exactly what day we're going to be on your street. We try to stick right to that list. We don't deviate a whole lot. It just makes our scheduling a lot easier. One thing that we ask your help in, the days if you see that we are going to be on your street, if you could park your cars off of the street, it makes it a lot easier for our guys to come through and pick up the leaves.
The leaf pickup runs from mid-October through the month of November, with 4 separate sweeps through town. Cron says there are some things homeowners can do to make that program run smoothly.
One thing we ask is that when you put the leaves out there, you don't put in tree branches and things like that. We just want to pick up the leaves. We ask that you don't park on the leaves so we can get to them and clean them up. The streets in town here with curbs, we ask that you get the leaves all the way out into the street so we can get them. And if you live in the rural areas or whatever where there's not curb and sidewalk, put them right up next to the road in the grass area and we'll get them from there.
And while we're talking about leaves, a quick word to the wise. While most homeowners rake them to the road, some each year get the idea to burn those leaves instead.
That is something that we do not allow. The only things that we're allowed to burn are clean, dry vegetation. So that means no green sticks, no leaves, no debris. We can't burn trash. And that is whether it's in like a chimney or a fireplace or a fire pit, commercially or homemade fire pits.
Hanahan says there are a laundry list of problems associated with burning leaves, not least of which is the safety factor.
High pollution index days or high wind days, you've got the hazard of those sparks taken off. And if you have a burn pit or a burn container that you are using, on high wind days, those embers can fly and they can catch roofs on fires, they can catch combustible decks on fires, they can catch fencing on fires if you've got a wooden fence. So you want to make sure that you're in an open area when you are actually doing a burn.
Hanahan says if fall fires are your thing, that's perfectly fine, but you may need to get an open burn permit first.
If you have a commercially made product like that you purchased at Lowe's or Menards or Home Depot, any of those type things, those do not require a permit as long as the products that you're burning fit within the lid, the cage or lid that they have. If you are making a homemade fire pit, you need to contact the Vandalia Fire Department at 898-2261 or stop by Monday through Friday between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. for an open burn permit. That's a no-cost permit. And we will, if this is your first time having a fire pit, we will come out and inspect the pit. We are going to make sure that it is 3 foot by 3 foot by 3 foot, that it's in a non-combustible surrounding, that you've got some type of means of extinguishment available. So that can be a water hose, it can be a fire extinguisher, it can be a bucket of sand.
Again, if you have any questions at all about fire pits or what is okay to burn, it's best to call the Vandalia Division of Fire first. Their number is 898-2261. Now, the phone has been ringing quite a bit lately in the office of Vandalia's primary economic development officer. Assistant City Manager Greg Shackelford says a recent call brought great news from an area company looking for a new home.
A technology company that I'm going to keep nameless for now, that was south of town, really kind of got kicked out of their place. There was a new ownership that took over the building they were in, and they were looking at potentially relocating to where their corporate headquarters is in the Texas area. They had another facility in Wichita, Kansas. But fortunately for us, we have some really nice space available over off of Poe Avenue, and they looked at a location off of Park Center, and they're going to be in the building that the old Dayton Physicians Group was in. What it means to us is should be 40 to maybe 60 new jobs in the next 2 to 5 years, and they should be pretty nice paying jobs too. So that one for us was a really nice opportunity that came from the broker. And a lot of times those brokers are out there, they just want you to know what they have available, and thankfully we had a spot for them.
Brokers also played a big role in bringing the White Castle food processing plant to town last year. Construction on that facility continues in Vandalia's Stone Quarry Crossings.
If you haven't been by Stone Quarry Crossings lately, White Castle is on the southwest corner of Capstone and Peters Pike. And that facility now really is taking shape of what it's supposed to be, and that's a frozen food processing center. The other nice thing about this is that they've got a major investment in capital equipment to be able to do the packaging, to be able to do the cutting of the meat, and they're in process right now. They're putting that capital equipment together in a different location to make sure that it's functional. So once they bring it in, it should be like clockwork.
Right next door to the future home of White Castle is the future home of Independent Can.
They have all their footers up. The foundation is laid. They're starting to do some exterior work on the building itself now too. The basic landscape is going to take place probably a little bit later. But if you haven't been by there, it's really what I would say a sister building just to the west of where White Castle's going up.
Independent Can is a company that's made a name for itself in a very specific niche.
They do decorative canisters, and they also do 100% of the Zippo lighter business. They do steel template presses, and they're extremely well known for their graphics.
And while these two projects are chugging along, a local company is having thoughts of expanding their operations again.
ASPM continues to grow. They're potentially looking at another phase at some point in the fairly near future, if all goes according to plan. Their total employment now should be closing in. If it's not at 300, they should be pretty close. And then also over in that Northwoods area, the Pilot Travel J, it just seems like it's been there for years already. Haven't had too many complaints, thankfully. Everything's gone very smooth there, and it seems to be a great in and out for a lot of consumer traffic too.
Shackelford says ASPM's progress is another sign that the economy is on the uptick. And on to a sign discussion of another sort. Vandalia's code enforcement officer says too many signs are ending up in the wrong place, which is not good for anyone.
This time of year, we're seeing a lot of garage sale signs. People are trying to get the last minute garage sale in, cleaning out the garage, getting ready for winter and that type of thing. We're seeing garage sale signs being on telephone poles, and that is prohibited. You cannot put garage sale signs on telephone poles.
Milliken says another no-no is placing your sign in a tree lawn area, which is a public right-of-way.
Tree lawn area is this area here, the green grass between the curb and the sidewalk. These areas right here are prohibited. You cannot put any signs in this area here, nor can you put it on the telephone pole. The area here, which is private property behind the sidewalk, you can put your sign. and this is what we ask of all the residents. If you're going to put a sign right here, it would be the place to be.
What happens if your sign is located in an unauthorized area? Well, it'll get removed and held for safekeeping, but you can get that sign back.
They can go ahead and contact our office, the inspection office. I keep them in the back of my truck for a couple of days. They come in claimed, then we have the right to go ahead and dispose of them at that point.
Milliken says garage sales are not the only offenders.
The placement of political signs, you see a lot of them at intersection related, on-ramps and off-ramps. Those are definitely prohibited. Those are all public right-of-way, roadway, and we are active out pulling. We will keep those signs at our inspection office throughout the political season, and a few days after the day of election, and then we go ahead and we discard those.
The warm weather months also bring another type of code violation, the inoperable vehicle, which cannot by code be parked outside your home.
You can work on your vehicle. You can do major overhaul as long as it's in a four-sided building like a garage or something like that. You can't pull it out on your driveway, and you definitely can't pull it in your front yard or on the street to pull an engine or that type of thing, maybe drop a transmission in. Those are type of major overhauls that we ask that you do it in a four-sided building.
Folks unaware of the code violation are given a chance to remedy that problem before an actual citation is issued.
What we do is we document and then send the owner of the property a violation letter, giving him so many days to correct the problem. If they're doing major repair, then they can go ahead and pull it in the garage and complete it that way.
And while Milliken has his eye peeled for code violations, Vandalia's Parks and Recreation Department is hopeful everyone's keeping an eye out for our city parks. Parks and Recreation Director Steve Clark says the Park Watch program is going a long way towards preventing crime and vandalism in our parks.
The goal of the Park Watch program is to involve the neighbors in the community and park users in taking care of our parks, whether it's reporting vandalism or crime or just damage done to our parks.
Clark says that residents are asked to call different numbers based on what it is they're seeing.
I mean, if it's an actual crime that they're witnessing, of course, we would want them to call 911 immediately. If it's a non-emergency type activity that they want to report, maybe suspicious behavior, we ask them to call the non-emergency number at the police department. If it's a park issue where there's a playground unit that's damaged or there's a problem, we ask them to call our park garage and report it. And that number's 415-2353. And we answer that phone during the daytime hours. And if it's an evening that they need to leave that message, they can do that, and we'll call them back immediately the next day.
The Park Watch program has been credited with catching vandals in the act and keeping playground equipment in tip-top shape.
We hope that our neighbors feel a sense of pride in the park and take ownership in the park, and therefore they're extra eyes and ears for us and the police department on keeping our parks safe and vandal-free.
In the end, it's a program that works.
The Park Watch program has been in place for probably 20 plus years, but within the last 2 to 3 years we've made a larger effort to get the word out, providing all the neighbors of all of our parks with a pamphlet with information about what they should do, how they should look for things, and who they would contact in an emergency situation. So yeah, it's been successful, especially in the last few years, for people calling with tips, seeing things going on in the park that doesn't seem to be right, to tip off the police department or the Parks and Recreation Department.
And our last stop today is at the Vandalia Recreation Center, where an event geared towards the entire family is being planned.
The Fall Festival Fun is our first annual event. You can come for $10 for a family. You will get to swim, climb the wall, do Luther's Jungle, games in the gym. We'll also do pumpkin carving and decorating. And then at 7 p.m. you can come out here and do a hayride.
Recreation Supervisor Brittany Lewis says that the festival is an attempt to give families a good, clean, fun activity while showing off the many amenities of the rec center.
So we are really trying to target families to get out and enjoy the recreation center. You know, little ones can enjoy Luther's Jungle, they can swim, they can climb the wall, and play games in the gym. And then with the hayride, it'll take you back to by the water tower, and we will have a campfire with s'mores.
The festival also includes a raffle for the chance to win a full house air duct cleaning and a little something for every family that visits.
And we are going to be raffling off a $395 value from A.Able for air ducts. Sipsy Klein and Digital Cowboy are also sponsoring us so we can be able to give a pumpkin to each family.
The Fall Festival of Fun is Saturday, October the 12th from 5 to 9 p.m. Admission is only $10 per family. Now, if you're interested in any of the special events or programming we have here at the Vandalia Recreation Center, you have a couple of options to get more information. You can always give us a call, 415-2340. You can also check us out on the web at vandaliaohio.org. That's going to do it for this edition of Vandalia By The Way. I'm Rich Hopkins. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.